Shit.
She's a witch. Burn her at the stake.
I said, oh. Welcome back to The Basement, the podcast where we dig into the darker corners of history.
Today, we're heading back to 1692, a small Puritan town with the original satanic panic, the Salem Witch Hunt.
I like the way you put that. That's right. We're talking about the infamous events in Salem, Massachusetts. A series of accusations and trials that led to the execution of 20 people and the imprisonment of many more.
It's one of the most well-known cases of mass hysteria in American history. But to understand how it all spiraled out of control, we've got to set the scene.
So picture this. Late 1600s New England wasn't exactly a chill place to live. The Puritans who settled there believed deeply in the supernatural, God, the devil, angels, demons, and all very real to them.
They believed Satan was actively working to corrupt their communities. Witchcraft wasn't just a superstition. It was considered a crime punishable by death.
That's right. So the trouble started in early 1692 when two young girls, Betty Paris and Abigail Williams, began having strange fits, screaming, convulsing, claiming they were pinched or bitten by invisible forces.
A local doctor couldn't explain it medically and suggested supernatural causes. That was all it took. Fingers started pointing. How'd you get a doctor's license back in?
Yeah. You're right.
Because, I mean, I'm going to say seizure right off the bat. But whatever.
So the first three women accused, and forgive me on the pronunciation, but was it
Tituba?
Tituba? Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne. Was it Tituba? Was an enslaved woman in the Paris household. She confessed, probably under pressure though.
And her confession was explosive. She claimed the devil came to her and that there were other witches in Salem, and that confirmed everyone's worst fears.
Once that door opened, it couldn't be closed. Accusations spread rapidly through the Salem village and beyond. Neighbors accused neighbors. Even respected church members weren't safe.
She's a witch, burn her at the stake.
That's exactly what they were saying.
A court set up to handle these cases and was called the Court of Oyer and Terminer. I probably butchered that.
Yeah.
But whatever. And here's where it gets wild. They accepted something called spectral evidence.
Which basically meant if someone claimed your spirit appeared to them in a dream and harmed them, that could be used as evidence against you.
Jeez Louise, man.
Right.
So if you didn't like Becky down the road, she was toast, huh?
Yeah, right.
Imagine being sentenced because someone said your ghost glared at them. Jeez,
that's insane,
man.
isn't it?
Yeah,
insane to think.
That's crazy.
The first person executed, though, was Bridget Bishop in June 1692. She was hanged.
In total, 19 people were hanged, and one man, Giles Corey, was pressed to death with heavy stones because he refused to enter a plea. My God.
So what they done is they lay you on your back, I'm assuming, and then put a board over top of you, and they just keep adding stones and stones and stones, right?
I'm assuming, yeah.
So Corey's last reported words were, "More weight." That's chilling, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, by the end, around 200 people had been accused. The hysteria didn't really stop until influential community members and eventually the governor of the province of Massachusetts Bay stepped in and dissolved the court.
Governor William Phipps prohibited the use of spectral evidence and eventually pardoned many of the accused.
Probably a good call.
Cooler heads prevailed.
Yeah. So what actually caused this? Historians debate it. Some suggest it's mass hysteria fueled by religious extremism and fear. I'm probably going to go with that guy.
Yeah, right. Others point to political instability, frontier wars, smallpox outbreaks, economic stress, and Salem was under pressure from all these sides.
There are even theories about ergot poisoning, a fungus in rye that can cause hallucinations, though that theory is debated. So they were doing drugs back then. That's what caused all this.
But at its core, this is a story about fear and how quickly fear can override reason.
By 1693, the trials had effectively ended. Years later, the colony admitted the trials were a mistake. I was trying to bring us up in the 90s right here real fast.
Buddy. In 1711, the government passed legislation restoring rights and providing compensation to some of the victims' families.
Today, Salem has embraced its history and now home to museums, memorials, and a lot of Halloween tourism. I want to go there so bad I can't stand it.
That is definitely, I do want to go to Salem, Massachusetts. Yeah. That would be a great trip for the basement.
Yeah, it would. I want to go there so bad. Plane tickets are very expensive.
Yes, they are. So we need to drive.
You want to drive through New York City?
Never mind. But beneath the ghost stores, the gift shops is a sobering reminder of what happens when panic becomes policy.
The Salem witch hunt wasn't just about witches. It was about power, fear, belief, and consequences of unchecked accusations. And I want to stop right there for a second.
What you got?
More or less, this was, and not getting religious on Earth, because we don't do that. But if you didn't believe like them, you had to be a Satanist or be of the devil.
Right.
This is pretty much a more modern time Christian crusade, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Anyways.
Maybe not to that extreme.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a lesson that still resonates today. Question evidence, question narratives, and maybe don't convict someone just because of a dream.
That's going to do it for this episode of The Basement.
If you enjoyed today's deep dive, make sure to subscribe and leave a review.
And remember, sometimes the scariest things around aren't supernatural. They're human.
That is probably one of the biggest things that you could take away from this, is the scariest things is us.
And we're not talking about the witches.
Exactly. So we'll see you next time down in the basement.